So, hi guys, it's Flubby. I want to show you my little Berserker, which has turned out quite well. I have not prepared any great build guide or something, just like the usual. I'll show how it plays, explain a bit the gear and the idea behind it. And, well, yeah, that's gonna be it. So, basically, I'm currently in love with... What the fuck is going on here? I'm in love with those claws. They're like amazing. They open up lots of funny builds, and I was playing a Templar, already showed that, but I wasn't quite satisfied with the defense. I'd have thought I could have gotten a lot more, but I didn't, so I just thought, well, let's try something else. And here is the something else. It's a Berserker. This is like pure lightning damage. It's using elemental overload. It's got a shitload of energy shield. I actually downscaled from 15k yesterday because I wanted like a little bit more damage. My current values are like 8.560 average. This is without elemental overload. This is without Berserker shit having been up. My average attacks per second are... where are they? Well, 3.89 is probably not right. There we are. 9 APS. So, yeah, those are the corners. I can run Uber deathless if I'm not retarded. I'm mainly dying to flame blasts that I suck but shouldn't have sucked. Did a level anyways because I'm only like 92 on this guy, so you still get like positive experience even if you occasionally die. Okay, we fucked up here. Yeah, as you can see, it's like enough for a while. Mind you, I've done chars that had like more DPS, but they never had 13k ES. And they were not using weapons that cost like 15 chaos. Yeah, so as you can see, this works like rather well. The only thing I really miss is like freezing, but it's almost impossible to get like a good character going that's not using crit and that has freezes. Like we could get an insane amount of cold damage, that's not a problem, but the freeze chance, you don't get that. You have to invest so many points and it's plain not worth it. But as you can see, that's not like a big issue. We have like more than enough buffer. We have Grace running just for like pure defensive purposes. Yeah. So what's there to say? Not much more right now. We'll go to the trio. Trio, we have like two options. We can do it safely. That's with like increased area of effect and just like run around and kite. They'll die. I recently started using Kong because I got tired of like the fight taking a bit longer. Fights that take long or fights that you can fuck up in. It makes it a bit more dangerous, but we have to see how that works out. We're actually already there. Place the totem here, go over there, oh, this is a bad start, yeah. Of course, I wanted to show Kong and she does that. What's wrong with you? Spears, they're like not the best kill. This guy's easier. This guy won't take long either. So as you can see, it's like more than enough damage. The goal, as I already said, was not to create the biggest bang whatever. I wanted to have like finally have a char that actually has like a considerable defense, or at least a considerable amount of buffer. Mind you, this is like no way the max value. I'll probably end up with an 18k ES char having that DPS level, which is, well, I think it's not worthy. There are lots of higher damage chars, but they definitely are not attack, or they clear, or have like 10k ES, 11k. It's like a whole different world. So right now we're clearing a bit of trash. Oh, to that corner. Yeah, I will explain the build a bit later after the run. It's basically you take those claws, get shitloads of intelligence and elemental and lightning damage, get elemental overload, get penetration a bit, and then you're basically set. You can get higher DPS values with Wrath, but Aziri is a lot more fun with Grace, to be honest. Replace the totem, let's see how she behaves this time. But well. We're just clearing for fun because the totem alone does it already, by the way, like, say. you could like go Ancestor Archive totem build with those claws, by the way. I think 86k DPS on the 3-link is kind of nice. Without any totem nodes. Standard burst. Move away a bit here. Is enough? No. And very professional lightning positioning. Yeah, that was fast. Probably a high lightning hit. Oh, close one. Kind of. As you can see, the damage is sort of shapy. Yeah, it's like the 20th Masker row. I'm tired of that. The damage is not 100% reliant because we have like a huge range on the lightning damage. It goes from like 4k to 27k, so that's why the mirrors sometimes go down instant, sometimes they don't. Yeah, as you saw, Deathless works. The gear in between, like meanwhile, is a bit more expensive, but you can do like similar DPS level, you just lose energy shield in general. Like, what it makes it expensive is pushing the energy shield, it's not getting the damage. The damage is like easy, you can get that on 30 chaos gear basically, and the 6-link of course. So let's go over the gear quickly. So we have a random shield, I would want intelligence on that, of course. We have a pretty good Val Regalia, but it's lacking int as well, so you see there's still room. Intelligence is the best DPS stat. We have like a pretty good amulet. It looks worse than it actually is. I have hard time getting a better one, because this has like 70, 80 intelligence plus 30 weapon elemental damage, which is a shitload for the build. I got like 2 decent rings. Still nothing great, right? I mean, it's basically a Nopal ring with 2 stats. Weapon elemental damage and lightning damage, and this is like lightning damage roll and an elemental damage roll. The nice thing about the build is like you can use flat lightning, you can use weapon elemental damage, you can use the maximum int roll, and you can use the lightning damage roll from the essences. And they all basically give similar amounts of damage. It's not far from each other, so basically the really expensive part is getting like as many of them as possible. This is hard because those items barely exist, but you can easily get like me at the moment too. Yeah, I'm using like some energy shield boots, intelligence, energy shield, resistance, nothing great, nothing special. got those for 2x or something. Mind you, if you want to do something similar, just like go down in the energy shield value. Get something with intelligence and 150 energy shield, you'll still end up with like 10k buffer. It's more than enough for easy mapping. It's also more than enough for Uber. You're just gonna die at some point because, well, 10k yes, you know, if you know Uber, you know that's gone in a second from time to time. The belt is actually amazing. I hit that yesterday. Intelligence, weapon elemental damage, this is probably irreplaceable and currently most likely unpayable. You can use an easy weapon elemental damage belt as well. The int roll is nice. If you can get it, get it. If you can't, then, well, not. This is sort of perfect, by the way. I'll probably not be able to replace that anymore in this league. And we got some gloves. Int, accuracy, attack speed, default. Yeah, second ring we already had, so that's basically the gear. So we have those claws, they give lightning damage per intelligence, I hope you know those. The funny thing is, if you use 2 of them, the lightning damage from one claw gets applied to the other, so you have an insane amount of lightning damage. In my case, I got like 860 int. Meanwhile, this means like 86 times 12 base lightning damage, which is something about 4 or 5 rafts running, which, yeah, as you can see, yields a lot of damage. So we can go to the tree. I'll explain a bit there. So I've been very unhappy on the Inquisitor because Reflect is an insane issue. If you want to push damage on the Inquisitor, you get to the point where you would start one-shotting yourself really, really fast, especially on crit. So I thought, what can I do about that? Obvious choice, you have the Elementalist, which in hindsight might even have been better than what I picked now because, well, let's get to that later. Elementalist would solve the Reflect issue easy, but you still have to get Leech, which means you have to travel down here, from Elementalist up here. It's not that bad because you can take this path, I hope my mouse is visible, and convert to intelligence, so it's not that bad of a pathing, but it's still pretty annoying. You still... I wasn't like... It didn't seem like a good option. So I had a closer look at Berserker, which is, in my opinion, the only other second choice you have if you want to handle a high elemental reflect. And he has this node. And this basically solves your reflect issue. You have like a Ziri Flask and the Lightning Res Flask together. That means you will get reflected about 3 damage per 100 damage taken, per 100 damage done, and you leech back 3. Because anytime you're gonna meet a reflect mob, you have something killed before. The downside of this is our leech at bosses is a bit low, usually, because you only have that 1% leech, but it's enough. I mean, you saw the leech value stays, they're pretty decent, it's fine. It solves the reflect issue. The other side was damage. Which class gives easy damage if you don't use crit? I've never done a non-crit build. I'm using like Elemental Overload, as you can see, and I needed something on top. What can be done on top? Like, yeah. And the Berserker 40% more actually came out best. Many use Raider these days. I don't like Raider that much because you have to spec into Frenzy Charges to get that damage. You have to have a pretty specific gear, usually with +1 Frenzy Charges to make it anywhere close to 40% more damage. So it's kind of a good fit. And then there's this Rite of Ruin. This basically is insanely good. It looks worse than it is. The Cannot Be Stunned if you've killed recently basically works great with Blade Flurries, because what happens is you go into a pack. If that pack for some reason stuns you, you're gonna release your Blade Flurry stacks. If you release your Blade Flurry stacks on that DPS level, you will kill something and become stun immune. So basically this is, for mapping, it's constant stun immunity. And you have to be retarded to die to a stun lock there. What it doesn't solve though is the stun from bosses, and that's why I use basically Grace to get this done. Grace plus Stip Knight gives us so little hits from bosses that they can barely stun you. It is annoying, but it's not that annoying that I want to use a Chayula and drop this this amulet. Like for comparison, if I drop the amulet, average goes down. This is like F11.3, and this is like 13k. It's like 10, 15, almost 20% damage. So I don't want to drop that. I could, but I don't like it. So let's go over the tree. We have the Berserker. We use this start because the life is useless and everything else down here as CI is useless as well. We got the accuracy nodes. Accuracy is kind of an issue. I'm like, it's not as bad because I'm not crit, but I would definitely want a second piece with accuracy. I don't have it yet, but I'll probably get like a 400 accuracy roll on a ring or amulet. Maybe helm, like whatever plays out, but I want at least one 400 accuracy roll more. Yeah, then it's kind of standard pathing. We get the area nodes, really important. Those and those, if you want to like level with this shit, get them as soon as possible. After that it becomes a lot better. Then we have like standard elemental damage pathing. This is actually quite great because you get resistance from here, some shock chains at least, and intelligence here. So Catalyze is an insanely good node for this spell. What I did up until this morning, I had those, didn't have those points, but used this corner here together with Green Dream to get frenzy charges. But I wasn't too happy with that because frenzy charges aren't up at bosses. At bosses is the only place where I actually need damage from frenzy charges. So yeah, well, I specced out of it and got like more consistent damage from Stormweaver and Heart of the Thunder. Core mechanic, as said, is Elemental Overload. Gives like nice 30% more with the 40% more from the Berserker. That's great. This is some damage pathing. We take some in paths, energy shield, easy as that. This is sort of optimized right now. Then of course we get CI, we get Ghost Reaper, we have to get that, nothing special. And the rest is basically standard pathing. Yeah. So long so far to that. I also tried Overload because no Zealous Elf instead of the Alpac, but it kind of sucks. It's you can get like nice region from here, and you already have a percent region here, but Reflect feels really shitty without Alpac. It's not good. Yeah, this node is important as well because it gives you penetration. Okay, so I forgot the links. Standard links is weapon elemental damage, blade flurry, faster attacks, added lightning damage. So far so good. You're definitely gonna need lightning pen. You could drop added lightning. I'm actually considering that. I might use maybe life leech for more consistent leech, but I'm not 100% sure. On the other hand, it's quite a lot of damage. So this is like a 20 lightning. The average damage drops considerably. So. But you could drop it. It's still a decent DPS level without that. Yeah, conk effect and increased area swapped as needed. One thing to note is the claws are insanely slow. 1.6 is not a great attack speed for Willing Blades or Blade Flurry. And how do we solve that? Obviously we don't have it on the tree, but you can solve it with jewels. I use like dual attack speed to triple attack speed jewels, and I have like 4 or 5 of them, and this gives like a decent attack speed level. Yeah, so here dual. I'm using this, but if you like compare, it's like 400 average damage, but it gives a nice energy shield boost, like 400. It's definitely not needed. It's definitely not a core item. I kind of like it. The overall package is good. It gives a little bit of everything, and it's like the highest energy shield jewel you can get. but it's not mandatory. I'm saying this because it's rather expensive to get and rare, and you have to deal with some idiot who thinks he's king because, well, yeah, he grinds labs since 8 months. Woo! Okay, so what can we do now? Yeah, that's basically it. Hope you enjoyed. I can only advise to go for them, or at least to try building something around it. I have like at least 3 more variations that would work with those claws, because the base lightning damage is just so insanely high that you can basically do anything you want with them. Like shitty max defense characters where you don't even pick like the little bit of damage I picked. They are possible with them, so if you haven't considered going with those claws, go with them. I can only advise to do that. Later guys!